Okay, this video is going to cover the basic instructions for installing a replacement LED kit in kind of an economy model vending machine. There's several different machines, and on our website when we sell these we try to help you by classifying the voltage. Very typical on these economy machines, they've used a 24 volt LED strip. In some case they've used a 5 volt, so it's important that before you install it you know what you're doing. Possible to measure with a voltmeter, or if you order it by the type of machine. So here we just have kind of a lower quality LED strip. It's going to be held in place here. I guess it has a connector. So I'm going to disconnect this connector. Before you start you want to make sure the power's off, and now I'm going to go ahead and remove this strip. In some machines, in this one it's kind of odd, there's an 11/32 nut, and actually on the top is a Phillips screw which you have to twist, otherwise it'll spin. It has like this little black tie mount. You technically could just cut this if you wanted to. I've seen nuts holding these in place just because there's a lot of different machines and they used all different types of ways to mount these LED strips. But basically just we need to remove the original one, so there's a nice place to put the replacement one. In this case, like the nut in this machine is 11/32, and it's odd that there's a screw on the top, so I'm going to go ahead and loosen the nut that holds this in place. I'll loosen the nut that holds this in place, and then I'll be removing the original strip. So the first one's done. I'll move over to the second one. While I'm doing this, I'm just going to hold it up so it doesn't fall down. Okay, so now I've removed the original strip, and it's just a matter of good practice because the way this was installed is not typical, but there were screws actually coming down as opposed to fixed studs. So rather than leave holes in the machine, I'm going to go ahead and, if it used this screw method, I'm going to replace the screw in the nut just so that there's not open holes in the machine. Okay, so at this point I'm going to start actually connecting the LED strip, the new one. Okay, so at this point I have the two wires and I'm ready to add the connectors to them. So I'm going to skin these wires back, either using your cutters, or if you may have a pair of wire cutters if you're not used to doing this. Now I'm going to just twist this wire, makes it look nicer. And with the 24 volt strip from Capital Vending, it has a connector, looks like this, and we put the red and black piece of shrink tube just so you know where to connect them. I mean, because it's an LED strip, polarity is important. If by chance these fall off, if you hook it up backwards, I've actually had it where within the machine they were kind of wired backwards. I mean, there will be no damage. So so right now my next step, I'm going to connect these, and before I use a lighter to melt the shrink tube and make a real nice connection, I'm actually going to connect it and then give it a test. So what I like to do, I'll slide this piece of red off, put it up on this nice long wire, and then kind of do like a linesman splice where I kind of join the wires in the center of each wire, and then I just twist them back. And I'll slide it over. I'm going to connect the black ground wire. Okay, so these will use a lighter to shrink and make a nice connection. So at this point, basically almost done the installation. I'm going to go ahead and connect the LED strip and test it. Okay, so at this point, it's very bright. We know that it's working, so I'm going to turn the machine off again and just do a nice job of mounting it, and our installation is almost complete. All right, the next step, I'm going to just take a lighter, a pack of matches, and I'm going to make sure that all the bare wire is covered. I'm just going to use this to kind of shrink down the tubing. The beauty of these, like there's a very high bond 3M tape on here, so we're going to go ahead and peel this backing. Then basically, this wire may give you a little bit of resistance, so we're going to feed it back through into the cabinet. Because I just want this bulb to be nice and centered. So I'm kind of going to put this where the original was and just eyeball it to get it centered. I'm going to put it here. You know, you could have somebody hold it. You know, if once the shrink tubing is done, it wouldn't hurt to plug it in. I just want to make sure the bare wires don't touch. So I've kind of done a bunch of these, and when I'm doing it by myself, I kind of know where it'll go. But this is very bright. You want to make sure it shines down nicely. So I've got this here. If I have a little bit of extra wire, I always like to, like in this case, there's this side cabinet. So I'm going to feed it over into the side cabinet. And so now you have a really nice LED strip. There's no extra wire hanging down here. I'll go ahead and put the power back on for the end of the video, and you'll see how nice and bright it is. Just as a bit of information, you know, some of these machines will have an upper and a lower compartment. This particular machine has sodas here. When this left the factory, it kind of also had the same LED strips that typically fail prematurely and are not even that bright. So here we have the same, in this case, the red and black wires. That should also be 24 volts, so the procedures are the same. Kind of has these screw heads that you could see, and you'll undo the nut, and then the LED strip would just stick on the top of this. But just the procedures I went through, just turn the power off when you connect it, test it, then use the shrink tape to make sure that the wires are correct polarity. Just kind of go by the same steps one at a time, and you could very easily replace the LED strip on the lower compartment.